Beneath the golden sands of Arabia, under the silent ruins of North Africa, and deep within forgotten valleys of Central Asia, once stood cities of light, knowledge, and power. Cities that shaped science, art, and faith now buried under time. This is the story of the lost cities of the Muslim world, the forgotten heartbeats of Islamic civilization that once lit up the world. Part 1: Iram, the Atlantis of the desert. Beneath the endless sands of Arabia lies a mystery that has puzzled historians, explorers, and believers for centuries. The story of Iram, the lost city of pillars. The Quran mentions Iram in Surah Al-Far 89:6-8. Have you not seen how your Lord dealt with Iram, the city of lofty pillars, the like of which was never built in the land? Iram was said to be a magnificent city built by the ancient tribe of Aad, descendants of Prophet Noah. They were strong, wealthy, and lived in luxury, constructing massive towers and palaces that reached toward the sky. But with their power came arrogance. They began to reject the message of their prophethood, turning away from the worship of Allah and becoming proud of their strength. According to the Quran and Islamic tradition, Allah punished them for their arrogance, sending a fierce, roaring wind that lasted for 7 nights and 8 days. When it was over, Iram was gone. The once great city disappeared beneath the sands, becoming a legend whispered across generations. A city lost to divine wrath and time itself. For centuries, many believed Iram was only a myth, a moral lesson, not a real place. But in 1992, everything changed. NASA satellites scanning the Arabian Peninsula for ancient trade routes detected strange patterns beneath the desert of Oman. When archaeologists investigated, they uncovered the remains of collapsed towers, old water systems, and trade routes exactly where ancient texts described Iram to be. The discovery shocked the world. Western scientists began calling it the Atlantis of the sands. Just as the Quran described, it was a city of mighty pillars, once powerful, now buried and forgotten. Iram's story teaches us that no civilization, no matter how strong or advanced, can last forever if it forgets humility and truth. It stands as a reminder written in the very earth that pride destroys and faith preserves. Even today, the desert winds still blow over the ruins of Iram, whispering an ancient warning. Power fades, but truth never does. Part 2: Fustat, Egypt's vanished capital. Long before the mighty city of Cairo rose on the banks of the Nile, there stood another capital, a city that witnessed the dawn of Islam in Africa. Its name was Fustat, the very first Islamic city ever built in Egypt. The story begins in the year 641 CE, when the Muslim general Amr ibn al-As-Ra led his army into Egypt during the caliphate of Umar ibn al-Khattab Ra. After the conquest, Amr chose a strategic site near the Nile River to establish a new city, one that would serve as the heart of the growing Muslim world in Africa. There, he pitched his tent, his Fustat, and from that simple tent, the city of Fustat was born, quickly flourished. Beautiful mosques, lively markets, and vast homes filled its narrow streets. Scholars and merchants came from across the Muslim world, from Arabia, Persia, and even Andalusia, to trade, teach, and learn. Fustat became a center of science, culture, and faith. At its heart stood the Mosque of Amr ibn al-As, Egypt's very first mosque. Its walls echoed with Quranic recitations and the voices of teachers passing down the new light of Islam. The city was alive, a symbol of unity and knowledge in the early Islamic empire. But time, as always, brought tragedy. In 1168 CE, as the Crusaders advanced toward Egypt, the Fatimid Vizier Shawar made a painful decision: to burn the city down rather than let it fall into enemy hands. The flames devoured everything: homes, libraries, mosques, and markets. The smoke of Fustat's destruction darkened the skies for 50 days. When it ended, the once great city was nothing but ashes. Out of its ruins, a new capital rose, Cairo al-Qahira, which still stands today. But beneath Cairo's bustling streets and crowded alleys, the foundations of Fustat still rest, silent and forgotten. Fustat's story is one of both glory and grief. the rise of Islam's light in Africa, and its loss to fear and fire. It reminds us that even the greatest civilizations can fall, but from their ashes, new worlds are born. Part 3. Timbuktu, the city of books. Deep within the vast sands of the Sahara, far from the great cities of the Middle East, lies a name that once made travelers whisper in awe: Timbuktu, a city of gold, knowledge, and faith. A city that proved Africa was not a land of darkness, but of enlightenment. Timbuktu rose to glory in the 14th and 15th centuries, when the great Mali Empire ruled West Africa. Caravans loaded with salt, gold, and manuscripts crossed endless deserts to reach the city beside the Niger River. But Timbuktu's greatest treasure wasn't gold. It was knowledge. Here stood the Sankore University, along with hundreds of madrasas and libraries. Scholars from Morocco, Egypt, and even Andalusia traveled here to study astronomy, medicine, mathematics, and Quranic sciences. It is said that more than 700,000 manuscripts filled the city's homes and mosques. Some were written in Arabic, others in ancient African scripts, a living proof of a golden age few remember today. Imagine the nights of old Timbuktu. The glow of oil lamps lighting narrow streets, the gentle sound of pens scratching on parchment, students reciting verses under the stars. Knowledge was sacred here, worth more than any treasure. But time was not kind to this city. As the Mali and Songhai empires fell, trade routes shifted, and Timbuktu's wealth and fame began to fade. Foreign invaders came, and many of its priceless manuscripts were hidden away in secret boxes or buried beneath sand to protect them. By the 19th century, European explorers arrived and were shocked to find that this mythical city had been real all along. A center of learning when much of Europe was still emerging from its dark ages. Even today, in modern Mali, families still guard those ancient books, some more than 800 years old, keeping alive the legacy of their ancestors. Timbuktu stands as a reminder that the Islamic world once stretched its light deep into Africa, and that faith and knowledge walk hand in hand. When the world forgot Timbuktu, its books remembered humanity. Part 4. Samarra, the spiral minaret city. Along the banks of the mighty Tigris River in modern-day Iraq lies a city that once dazzled the world. A city built to reflect the glory of an empire. Its name was Samarra, a capital of dreams, art, and divine architecture. The story of Samarra begins in 836 CE, during the reign of the Abbasid Caliph Al-Mu'tasim Billah. At the height of the Abbasid Caliphate, Baghdad had become crowded and restless. The Caliph wanted a new city, one built from pure vision, not chaos. So, he rode north along the Tigris and chose a vast plain where the desert met the river. There, he ordered the creation of a new capital, Samarra, meaning a place of joy. Within a few years, a city of breathtaking scale emerged. Grand palaces stretched across the horizon, gardens bloomed in the desert, and the call to prayer echoed from towering minarets. The heart of it all was the great mosque of Samarra, once the largest mosque in the world. Its most striking feature still stands today: the Malwiya Minaret, a 52-meter spiral tower that coils upward like a staircase to the heavens. From its top, one could see the glittering Tigris and the vastness of the Abbasid Empire, a symbol of human creativity inspired by faith. But the glory of Samarra was short-lived. After only 50 years, the caliphs returned to Baghdad, and the city began to fade. Civil wars, invasions, and neglect turned its palaces into ruins. By the 13th century, when the Mongols swept across Iraq, Samarra was already a ghost, its once bustling streets buried in silence. Yet even in its ruin, Samarra's beauty endures. The spiral minaret still rises proudly above the desert winds, a reminder of the Abbasid dream, a time when Muslim architects and artists turned belief into breathtaking art. Samarra teaches us that power fades, but beauty born from faith never dies. Its spiral still reaches for the sky, as if trying to touch eternity. Part 5. Reflections: What these lost cities teach us. As the sands of time cover the ruins of Iram, Fustat, Timbuktu, and Samarra, we are left with a question. What do these lost cities truly tell us? They remind us that civilizations rise not only with stone and steel, but with faith, knowledge, and humility. Each city once stood as a beacon of Islamic brilliance, places where art met science, where scholars debated under candlelight, and where people believed that seeking knowledge was an act of worship. But when pride replaced purpose, and when power overshadowed truth, these lights began to fade. The winds of Iram, the fires of Fustat, the sands of Timbuktu, and the silence of Samarra all whisper the same warning. No empire is eternal if it forgets the values that built it. Yet their stories are not tales of loss alone. They are reminders of resilience. For even though their walls have fallen, their spirit remains. From Iram's buried towers to Timbuktu's hidden books, from Fustat's ashes to Samarra's spiral minaret, the soul of Islamic civilization still breathes through time. Today, when we walk through modern cities, surrounded by noise and glass, we can still feel echoes of that past, of a world where faith and knowledge walked hand in hand, where beauty was built for the sake of the Creator, not for fame. Perhaps these cities are not truly lost. Perhaps they are waiting for us to listen, to remember that every stone, every word, and every invention once carried the message of unity, that knowledge without humility is empty, and power without purpose is dangerous. Their ruins are not graves, they are lessons carved in dust, lessons calling us to rebuild, to rediscover, and to revive the light that once illuminated the world. The lost cities of the Muslim world are not gone. They live in our hearts, waiting for a new generation to uncover their wisdom and continue their story. The lost cities of the Muslim world, forgotten but not erased. Subscribe for more hidden Islamic history.